is there anywhere you want to stop? You've got a little bit of time. And I said, I don't know, what do you got in Wisconsin? You got cheese, let's get cheese. So she stops off at what I can only imagine is like the monument to Lodi, Wisconsin, which is some cheese house with like a 6-foot mouse at the top of it. And we get all sorts of cheese curds. And I'm like, okay, cool, right, wonderful. So then she says, well, you can't just eat cheese. What do you want to eat? I said, I don't know, I'll get something at the airport. She goes, no, well, do you have Culver's? And I said, what's Culver's? She goes, oh, you gotta have Culver's. So we pull into the drive-thru, and I'm like, what do you get at Culver's? She goes, you gotta get a butter burger. Okay, I'll get a butter burger. You gotta get a frozen custard. All right? Anything else? You gotta get frozen deep-fried cheese curds. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, I'll get a butter burger, a concrete, or a frozen custard, I'll get this. And I'm sitting there with her, I said, what are you gonna get? She goes, oh, no, I don't eat this. And so I'm left on the plane with grease pouring out of my face, with the memory of just being shamed by my choices by Dr. Marcia Schaefer. She is brilliant. You are going to love her. Dr. Marcia Schaefer.
Culver's is awesome. Just when you're from the state. So that was thank you, Ian. That was a great start. I would like to give all of you a slightly different introduction to me. That's me. I have been obsessed with horses. I have loved horses my entire life. My parents were like, okay, is this gonna be like the fish thing and like the gerbil thing? Let's see if she actually sticks with this thing. So I went into lessons for a long time until I turned 12 years old. 12 years old, I got my first horse. That is Gerd. She is Norwegian fjord pony. They are miniature draft horses with really big attitudes. Think small dog syndrome, right? But a horse. So this horse taught me a ton. And being 12 years old, this is the first year in Wisconsin that you can make the best of the best state fair. So I'm in 4-H, and I'm like, okay, I'm from a small town. I'm like, I'm gonna show my horse. And I went in, and I did my first class, and I won. Right? I was the only competitor. It's fine. So I go to county, right? Because county's next. And at county, imagine my surprise when they call me to win the class again. This is like sky high. I'm like, this is amazing. This is so easy. This is awesome. Gerd, you rock. Then state comes. And now we have a new game to play. Because state felt really big. And it felt really scary. And it felt like, oh my gosh, there's all these people. And people started to figure out that, I was not going to be in school. My teachers, my friends, they knew that I was not going to be in school. And they were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to this thing. And they're like, what? And it was a bigger deal to me. It mattered more. So I should mention that this is going to be an interactive 20 minutes, FYI. So I get to state fair. What happens? I knew, who said that? You rock. I knew I liked you. I didn't win, but I didn't lose. I didn't show up. Day of, I played sick because it terrified me to think, what happens if I go all in and I don't win? What will they think? What will that mean? What will people say about me? What if I didn't win? Would it be the worst thing in the world if I didn't win? Obviously not. But that situation has stuck with me my entire life. And so I'm here today to have a different conversation with all of you. Where are you not playing all in? Where are you playing sick? In your job? in a next big opportunity that could just be on the horizon waiting for you? Where are you not going all in because you're terrified? Because we've got a really great protective mechanism happening in our brain every single day. We live in this world that's like, you gotta thrive, not just survive. Guilty. I get it. I say this too. But why is it that we have these bucket lists that rarely get actually checked off? Why is it that we live in this society that tells us you need to do everything that you can? You need to make sure that you're always putting yourself out there, and you'll want to put yourself out there, but then your brain's like, hard pass, don't do it, and it will bring you every single reason that it could not possibly work. No way could it work. Does anybody else run up against that? I know I can't be alone. Here's the main reason. Your brain is not here to make you have the time of your life and bust through every single outcome you know. It's here to keep you alive. And it wants to do that for, hopefully, a long time. So everything that our brain wants to do, our brain is doing it for our best. The problem is, the world has changed dramatically. Our brains are not meant for this world. This is not the intended use of our brains. This is not what our brains are meant for. This is. For 200,000 plus years, our ancestors understood that there's a different pattern, there's a different rhythm to life, and if we aren't able to listen to, like what Dr. Lisa said so perfectly, could you imagine in this crazy world how you can hear that quiet voice? How are we supposed to get to that quiet voice when there is so much pulling us, telling us, do this, do that? Oh, that person might not like you if you do that. Oh, is society, oh gosh, you didn't get your COVID shot? Really? This is constant. It is a barrage that is constantly happening to us. So we get to decide. We get to make a decision, because in these ancestor times, when we had the ability to hear, we also had different threats. Our threats have changed today. Biggest issue, as soon as we've got as soon as we've got the changes in society and how fast it works, we have to understand that with a different world comes a different brain. So, in our ancestors' lives, they were literally looking for tigers and bears and snakes and all of the things that could kill them, constantly. And now our metaphorical brain is doing the same thing. There's a disconnect between our modern-day brain and our Stone Age brain. Okay? This comes in those moments where we don't have the chance to be quiet anymore, so we're getting overpowered. So that mismatch creates a lot of chaos. I'm going to show this to you in a bigger way. Right now, information is coming at 400 billion bits per second, basically. 400 billion. Our Stone Age brain can take in 2,000 bits per second. Now, I'm not going to make you do math, because that's just, again, Lisa, that's you, not me. But 99.99999% of information is not getting to us. We are dependent on how fast, what's happening, shortcuts, stories, instincts. What are the things that our brain knows? So all of you think that you've got this conscious cognitive thing going on. You're operating from an operating system that is much, much, much deeper. This is where, with Dr. J, when I chose the ministry and went into this, guys, it's not enough to say I want freedom in practice. It's an excellent, excellent opportunity for you to practice with freedom, but it does not mean just like skip through the fields and have a great time. You will be challenged. You will have people, naysayers, that are going to come and say weird stuff against it. Are you strong enough within yourself? Are you listening to that? Are you able to control that brain and that negative chatter that's going to show up because it's a subconscious pattern? Do you give yourself time and space every single day so your neuroplasticity can change? Because if you do not have that time, the people that say, if you can't meditate for 20 minutes, you need to do it for 40. There's a reason behind that, right? So we operate from these because this is what we know. This is what our brain can do to respond and keep us alive. So this is probably one of the best examples I have ever seen to prove that you're all in Stone Age brain. Globally, a survey was done about 5 years ago. And the global question was, what is your number one fear? What do all of you think that the answers were? The top 10. Whoa, hey, what? There was a whole lot of things that were just said at once. Spiders? Okay. Public speaking, did I hear public speaking? Public speaking was actually below death, right? So it's better to be giving the eulogy or better in the casket than giving the eulogy, apparently. So yes, lots and lots of different reasons, and a great conscious cognitive brain list. We've got all these conscious reasons, all these things that we should be scared of. But the number one fear, Doc got it over here. Let's put you back in your ancient brain. Is public speaking a concern in your Stone Age brain? Negative, right? So snakes are the number one global fear. Makes sense, right? Because that's what people are around, that's what people are dealing with. So the job is to keep us alive. It's not to keep us safe. It's not to make us thrive. It's just to keep us alive. So the issue with, oops, well, then there's this guy. Apparently the button. So I ruined my own thing. Great. No. So if we were using our conscious cognitive brain, what would the number one killer be? Ta-da. No. So it is heart disease, right? Conscious cognitive brain. Heart disease is our number one killer. Why can't kale taste like that? Again, we go to the Stone Age brain. What does the Stone Age brain say? We need salt, we need fat, we need sugar. These are all means of preserving life. So let's take food scientists that make it all up into a food-like product and attempt to give it to us. And we're like, oh, yay, Stone Age brain is happy. That's why we crave these things, right? So our goal is, again, keeping us alive. Oops, got past that. So, all right. I'm going to assign you guys a job. Ancestor brain, right? We're going back to the ancestor brain. So in your ancestor brain, I'm going to ask you to go out and pick berries. So you're out there picking berries, and you're like, this is great. These are going to be great tonight. Can't wait. And you hear rustling behind you. What's the first thing you do? Scream, freeze. I would hope you would at least turn around and look, right? Because if there was no answer, I was going to be very worried about you guys. So yeah, you turn around, you do something, but modern day, there's no rustling or tinging or pinging or any kind of noise like that, right? Every time our brain's like, oh my gosh, there's a ding, there's a ping, there's something, a snake is going to kill us, oh my God, we're going to die. And you're like, dude, no, that's Kathy. We like Kathy. That's just a text message. It's okay. But modern brain doesn't understand this. It doesn't understand, which is why some people can have notifications. Some people feel overwhelmed as all get out with notifications. Watch the stressed brain. You're not going to want those notifications. You're not going to want that kind of stuff. So as we can work on understanding, we've got this Stone Age brain in a modern environment. It's everything when it comes to making decisions. Now, I know that my work in the preconception field, in the epigenetic field, I'm just going to say it, it's not a stinking supplement protocol. Please. Please. There are 8 things. It's not about... John Mark. It is not about the supplements, but it's better and more about how the parents can adapt to stress. Why is it that we'll have parents yelling at their children when they're stressed out, when they're taxed, and then their kid gets mad, and their kid starts yelling at the parent, and the parent says, why are you yelling at me? Use a softer voice. Hi, get a mirror. We do this stuff to our kids. We don't even realize it, that it's us. Right? When we want to be better parents, don't try to control your children, control yourself. If you want to change your kids, you want to change their attitude, you want to change their stress response, get a mirror. Because this neuroplasticity stuff, you can easily ask. And if you want to ask parents in your practice, hey, were your parents like super warm and comforting and kind, and they never ever hit you, and they never spanked you, and they believed in gentle parenting? The vast majority are going to say no. And then you somehow are expected to know exactly what it takes to do gentle parenting when it's never ever been something that is in that neuroplastic brain for you. It's not something that is part of your biology. We have a massive opportunity. And if anything, the last 2 years have brought this out in just tremendous ways. You can come up here. No. Oh, yeah. I'm like, what's going on? So I got off my little tangent there. Why is it? Well, maybe, actually, I know that I'm with a pretty awesome crowd right now. So I know that I can speak from my experience that if I ever got pulled into my boss's office, and before I pulled out of government education, if my son's school ever called, my first thought when I saw that coming on the phone was not, what award am I winning today? Right? Our brain automatically goes to, oh my gosh, what's wrong? What am I getting in trouble for? What did my kid do? First thought. We can't give people the benefit of the doubt because of our own skepticism for safety. Do you see the flex that you can start practicing every single day? Not against other people, not expecting other people to change, but working on your own neuroplasticity in a highly stressful environment, which is now, and we're about to hit fall, so I'm sure the bugs are going to come crawling out of everything to hit everybody with apparently polio now, apparently in New York. I don't know. There's something new. So here's the biggest flex. We are not going to rise to the level of our expectations. We fall to the level of our training. And you cannot practice in times of trial. You have to practice in times of peace. My husband, being in law enforcement, has told me this time and time and time again. In law enforcement, we have to practice in times of peace. Yet, when our children decide to be children, that doesn't happen. And so when I say, hey, Sean, how are you feeling? Fine. No, like, what emotions are you feeling? I don't know. And then he expects to be the calm parent. You can't wait until your kid is driving you nuts and you want to crawl off the wall and like scream from the rooftops to be like, oh, let me practice my gentle parenting and neuroplasticity and change. You want an even bigger flex, do it before you have kids, because then you don't end up having your second kid and be like, I'm really sorry, first kid. I really didn't want that to happen, but it is what it is. So, yes, yeah, of course, we do the best, and our kids are the greatest teachers. But we have to choose to learn from them and can't constantly think that we are the best thing ever. Uncomfortable truth. Courage and fear almost always coexist. If you've done any of David Hawkins' books, he's got a fantastic book called Letting Go. He talks about the energetics of emotion, and the lowest energetic emotion is that of apathy. I just have nothing. I can't do anything. Do you know what the most powerful emotion to pull you out of that apathetic state is? Hope. The next up the list, well, and there's a whole bunch of them, but these are the main ones that we work on. From apathy to hope, next comes courage. And after that, love is at the top. So as you can see, where are you in different areas? Are you pulling yourself to hope in different places? Are you pulling yourself to courage? Well, here's the deal. Courage is actually based on action. And the more you can take action, reflect on how you feel, and then take more action, that's how you move forward. That's how you change this neuroplastic brain, and you get to have different patterns and different interrupts. So in the preconception world and space, my goal is not to have the parents do a checklist. But that starts with their chiropractor not needing to do a checklist. Your neuroplasticity, your emotional intelligence, your ability to adapt and change is shown in your practice. Every single time I run into a chiropractor that's like, gosh, these guys won't do this stuff. And I'm like, it's with protocol. And I'm like, how are you doing? Okay, fine, I'll just call one out. Journaling tends to be a really bad thing for a lot of people. They don't want to do it. And so every time they're like, gosh, I can't get these practice members, they just won't do it. Yeah? Are you doing it? It's not about me. Oh, yeah? Okay. But it is. So we have an opportunity to step out of the matrix. We have an opportunity to step out of the government systems. My entire campus, if you guys have not heard yet, we closed on 5 1/4 acres. We have a birth center going in the ground in November, 8-room birth center, full healthcare clinic, school, all ministry. Now, the benefit of the ministry and being in that PMA, ministry component, is that it's faith-based. 1969, church versus state, you can't define what a faith-based organization is. So my faith is in that of innate intelligence and the body's ability to adapt and respond to the stressors. So my entire campus is built on our philosophy. I don't think my heart can handle another couple being coerced and not getting informed consent when they're going into labor, not having choices when it comes to their birth team, having a midwife that you can stand outside the window at the hospital and look into their labor room, because that's not creepy. Who does that? But that's what they were offered, and I can't stand for it. But again, it's not all like sunshine and roses. People are going to challenge us. And my courage is going to have to come back up. I'm going to have to grow into a new person within the next year to handle what is going to come, and I'm aware of it. But like Dr. J said, could you imagine if we had an army? We had more people that were doing this, stepping out of this programming. So again, it's not enough to just do, it's who we're becoming. Or it's through doing that we become. And I'll go fast. And this I already talked about, because you got to reflect on yourself. So in 30 years, you can say, I wish I had, or I'm glad I did. So the steps you're going to take, the things you're going to learn this weekend from the rest of the speakers and the speakers who have already been here, think about this. There are big steps that you have an opportunity to take. If you want to join, we opened our free community. We just built an app. Take a picture if you want, or else I can get it to you during the weekend. We built an app, and this app is based in salutogenic principles, epigenetic principles. It is all of this work. It's open to the public. It's open to the chiropractors. We're moving chiropractors in right now, so that's why there's no public in there. But feel free to make your free account, get in there, and this is removing it because Facebook doesn't allow us to have these conversations anymore. I know I have 3 seconds, but I saw this quote that I was like, I need to put it in, so it's the last thing. But I saw this, and I was like, geez. Remember that when you take your first steps into the life of your dreams, the first thing you meet will be fear. Nod and keep walking. Thank you, guys.